Hey, what is up? All right, so we got the highlights for the upcoming patch update 5.7. And of course, I think the most exciting part about this one is that we're getting 8 new legendary champions, and they're actually quite cool. They're actually pretty good. So Plarium is stepping up their game, bringing us some really good legendaries this time around. And of course, this along with this patch, of course, so here are the new legendary champions. We're also getting the champion rebalancing. We've talked about this a few weeks ago, from Lugan to Jingwon to Cupidus. Yeah, we're also getting those, but for this video, I will be talking about these 8 new legendaries, and I will be ranking them from who I think is the weakest up until the I think the most exciting champion that we have here. And of course, one of them is Walking Tomb Drain, which is the upcoming Fragment champion, and he's pretty good too. But yeah, there are some other ones here that are, in my opinion, a lot better than him. All right, so let's start with who I think is not the most exciting of the bunch here, and that is Kira, the Watcher, legendary Spirit Affinity champion, defense from the Dwarves. A1 attacks one enemy with a chance to place decreased attack. So that's an okay A1. Could be useful for early game clan boss with that decreased attack. A2 AoE, 100% chance when book of decreasing the duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn, and placing decreased accuracy debuff on them for 2 turns. That's an okay A2. I would think that we might be able to see that in some epic champions, but for a legendary champion, we have legendary champions that give a complete buff removal. This one just decreases the duration by 1 turn, so not that great, but it's still an okay A2. A3 places a 50% ally protection on all allies except for this champion, and places increased defense on all allies for 2 turns. Again, it's an okay A3, but for a legendary champion, I'm expecting a little bit more. These are skills that you might see on a very good epic champion, but again, for a legendary, I'm really expecting a little more exciting skills here. For the passive, whenever an ally is attacked while under ally protection, places a 50% decreased attack on the attacker for 1 turn, which is fine as well, but she already brings decreased attack on her A1, so that's a little bit redundant. So not that exciting. Not saying that this champion is completely useless. If you get her early game, you might be able to use her in clan boss, especially with the ally protection and increased defense, and making sure that decreased attack is consistently on the clan boss with that passive and with that A1. But other than that, for late game, well, you might be able to use this A2 and A3 for the Hydra. The ally protect, increased defense are okay. Decreasing the duration of buffs and placing decreased accuracy. These are okay skills for the Hydra, usable for Doom Tower, for Faction Wars, but not really a champion that I think anyone will be excited to get among these 8. All right, so that's the first one. And of course, it's going to get better from here. I think the next better champion is this girl, Shemnath, legendary magic affinity from the Knights Revenant, and attack type champion. A1 double hitter. Each hit has a chance to place decreased defense, so that's an okay A1. A2 transfers all debuffs from this champion to a target enemy, then attacks that enemy 3 times. So can be useful for the Fire Knight because it has a double hit A1 and a triple hit A2 with a complete debuff transfer. Although of course, not really that useful. That part not extremely useful for the Fire Knight. First hit of that A2 increases the duration of all debuffs by 1 turn. Second hit decreases the duration of all buffs by 1 turn, and also increases the duration of all buffs on this champion by 1 turn after attacking. That's an okay A2. Highly situational. Will be great if you're bombarded with a lot of debuffs and then you're going to transfer all of those to the enemy. But not really an exciting A2 in my opinion. A3 AoE double hitter. First hit removes all buffs. Second hit will ignore 20% of the target's defense against targets that have no active buffs. I think that's probably the best part of her kit is her A3. We still do not know if she hits hard. She is an attack type champion, but we've had a few attack type champions that don't really hit that hard. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But that's probably the best part about her kit. And she has a passive, increases the champion's accuracy by 10 for each buff on each enemy. Now, again, this is highly situational. You're most likely going to build her with high accuracy anyway for her to land her A1 and her A2. And of course, her A3 with that buff removal. So this one, highly situational here, and you don't really want your enemy having a lot of buffs anyway. Also increases this champion's crit damage for each debuff on each enemy by 5%, stacks up to 100%. Now this second part of her passive might be the better one of these two right there. So a chance to get up to 100% crit damage depending on how many buffs the enemy team has. So maybe if we get this full 100%, then maybe, you know, this girl can hit hard as well. But you'll need a lot of debuffs and make sure that she has enough accuracy to remove all buffs on the A2. Yeah. So has some potential, but we'll just have to wait and see how hard she hits. All right, so next one on my list is TrueF. Legendary Magic Affinity HP based champion from the Dark Elves. A1 attacks one enemy, then heals herself by 5%, but it becomes a 10% heal if if this champion has 50% HP or less, so that's fine. All right. A2 AoE plays a perfect veil on all allies except this champion, then places a counter attack and strengthen on this champion for 2 turns. That's an okay A2 right there, protecting everyone else and then making sure that the enemy attacks you, sort of like a Duchess kind of skill. The counter attack is a nice touch right there to make sure that she will heal herself back up with the A1 after getting attacked. Also, that strengthen will make sure that she stays alive. She is an HP based champion, so she is quite tanky. A3 heals a target ally by 20% of this champion's max HP, then balances the HP of all allies. So this can be a very good heal that can potentially just bring everyone's HP back up to full. Yeah, so the HP levels of all allies will be brought up to the level of the ally with the highest HP. Protection buff on the initial target for 2 turns. This is only for one target. This is not an AoE ally protection. If this were, she will be higher up on this list, but this is just an okay skill. And the passive decreases the cooldown of the Animus Infusion, which is the A3, by 1 turn for every 10% of HP this champion loses. Now, this passive paired with this A3 can be potentially very annoying, because of course, let's say she loses around 30% HP, then she will reduce that cooldown by 3 turns. She'll immediately get her A3 back up and will do this heal again. So that can be a very annoying heal with a lot of ally protection. Yeah, so has some good potential to be a very annoying champion. She's not like Duchess though. Duchess has a full team revive, has a block debuff, but can also be potentially a very annoying champion with that perfect veil for your entire team, with that single target ally protection, strengthen on herself, a lot of heals on herself. Pair her someone with a like a Duchess in Arena might potentially be a very annoying person or champion to face there. All right, so next one. Who's my next one? Yeah, next one I put on my list is actually this our Fragment Fusion, which is already quite good. That is just because the 4 other champions that are on top of him on my ranking list are actually really exciting. But this guy, you know, not that bad as well, especially for early game Spider when you're working your way up to stage 25. He has the wrong affinity though for stage 25, but if you're moving your way up, you know, stage 19, 20, 21, 20, so this champion will be good for you. HP burn activation on his A1, AoE HP burn that cannot be resisted on the A2, and a heal on the A3. Yeah, so very good Fragment champion that I can't wait to get a hold of. All right, after that one, who is next on my list? Yes, this guy, the Dwarf. So this is number 4. Number 4 on my list of 8. Goffred, Brass-clad, Legendary Magic Affinity, defense-based champion from the Dwarves. Double hitter A1, first hit 50% chance of placing decreased defense, and second hit chance of placing provoke. Decreased defense and provoke can be useful for, of course, Arena, can be useful for that particular head in Hydra. A2 AoE stun, that's an okay A2, especially for Arena, for Faction Wars. A3 places increased defense on everyone, so this guy is a defense-based champion, so can be very useful for himself as well, and removes any decreased defense and weaken from all allies. A very situational second part, so not really a big fan of that, but I'm excited about this. You know, AoE stun, 100% chance of placing a stun when booked on the A2, so that's really good. And passive, whenever an ally is attacked while under block damage placed by this champion, has a 100% chance when booked of placing a stun on the attacker for 1 turn, and if an ally is about to get hit or killed by a fatal hit, blocks incoming damage and places a block damage buff on them for 1 turn. So this is actually quite interesting here. Defense-based champion and can also protect one of your squishier allies from getting killed with this passive. Also places a stun. Also places increased defense. Also places provoke. So really, uh, I'm going. I'm expecting to see him a lot in arena because this might be a very annoying champion to face in arena. All right, so that's number 4 on my list. Number 3 is, let's see, number 3. Yeah, it's this tiger dude in the Skinwalker's legendary Spirit Affinity defense-based champion. A1 attacks one enemy twice, places increased defense on himself, and he is defense-based. A2 is an AoE 100% chance when book of placing decreased defense on each enemy for 2 turns before attacking. So the AoE decreased defense first, then an AoE hit, then 100% chance of placing a stun for 1 turn after attacking. So that's a very good A2. Decrease defense first on everyone, hit them all really hard, then placing a stun on the ones that are still left alive after that hit. So can be a good defense-based nuker for the arena to replace someone like an Iggy or Solus. So yeah, we might see him in arena as well. Also on his A3 places a strengthened buff and increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns and place a perfect veil on this champion for 2 turns. So yeah, that's a good A3 there. And for the passive, at the start of each turn, places a perfect veil for 1 turn on the ally with the highest attack. So he can also hide one of your squishier champions. Also inflicts 20% more damage against targets whose defense is lower than this champion's defense. So with this A2 right here that will place decreased defense and will maybe hit quite hard, and this passive that will inflict 20% more damage against targets whose defense is lower than this champion's defense. So of course, this we're expecting that you will build this guy's defense really, really high. So with this passive, with that A2, and there's an aura as well, increase ally defense in all battles by 30%. I'm really excited about this Ragash new legendary. Hopefully I do get my hands on him. He is Spirit Affinity, so a lot easier to get than a Void. So yeah, Ragash is my number 3 champion on this ranking. Number 2 is, let's see, number two, Halfrack. Yeah, Halfrack. I actually got this guy tied with the number 1. So I couldn't decide, but yeah, this guy's my number 2. Legendary Magic Affinity attack type, Demon Spawn. A1 attacks one enemy, places an extra hit if this attack is critical. Kind of reminds me of Candrafon, also from the same faction, but instead of magic, he is Force Affinity. Similar A1 in us, but Candrafon places an extra hit if the target has a buff. This one places an extra hit if this attack is critical. So of course, we're going to build him with 100% crit rate. A2 AoE places an extra hit on targets with less than 50% HP after the first hit. So of course, we're assuming that you're going to build him really, really tanky, and he's going to hit hard, and it's going to more often than not place that extra hit. And each hit will ignore 15% of the target's defense. If you build him with a Savage gear, that would even make this a lot stronger. So actually, I'm really excited about this A2 right here and see it in action. Also, before you do the A2, you can actually do the A3 because it grants an extra turn. Places 50% increased attack and increased crit rate on this champion for 3 turns, then gives him an extra turn. A lot better than the Candrafon buff that does not grant Candrafon an extra turn. So we actually just turned that A3 off. But this, keep this A3, activate that, get that increased attack, get that increased crit rate, so you can just build him with 70% crit rate to build up that crit damage, then nuke them all down with this A2. And the passive, whenever an ally is killed, instantly activates the Halfrack Scorn skill, will not put the skill on cooldown, which is this one, the A2. So, really cool passive there. And if there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate. So yeah, really looking forward to this one again. Plarium did say that 2022 is going to be the year of the arena of PvP, and we're seeing a lot of PvP champions here. So Halfrack again, I do expect to see him in arena. All right, so that's number 2 on my list. Number one is this guy, Nekmo Star Lizardman Spirit Affinity support champion. A1 is an AoE. 40% chance can be booked up to, no, just a flat 40% chance of placing decreased attack for 2 turns, but increases to 75% against targets under debuffs. That's actually a really good A1. AoE A1, really high chance to land decreased attack, one of the best debuffs in the entire game. So that's a really good A1. A2 is also an AoE, 100% chance when book of placing decreased speed and leech. So you have decreased attack, decreased speed, and leech on an AoE. This is a very good. These are very good debuffs for a support type champion. Can be useful for Hydra, Faction Wars, Doom Tower, keeping everyone alive with that leech, making sure that the enemies don't hit that hard with decreased attack, and of course making sure that they don't move that fast with decreased speed. Really, I really, just these A1 and A2 alone, I'm very impressed with this champion, which is why he's number 1 on my list. And then A3 places an increased speed on everyone for 2 turns and fills their turn meter by 30. That's a big 30%, and then grants this champion an extra turn. So I'm really excited about this champion, Nekmo Thar Lizardman. Yeah, really, he's going to be at the top of my wish list the next time we get ×2 Ancient or ×2 Sacred Shard. And passive fills this champion's turn meter by 5% each time a debuff on an enemy is removed, transferred, or expires. And this guy brings a lot of debuffs, all on AoE, so he's expect to get a lot of value from that passive. And that's not all. Also has an aura, increases ally speed in all battles by 19%. Yeah, this guy is number 1 on my list. Really good job on Plarium. 8 really good champions for the most part. I think more than half of them are really good. Some are okay, not totally useless, still usable in early game, but yeah. Keep this up and you can retain a lot of new players and old players. Because of course Raid is 3 years old now, so hopefully we still go strong, because actually it is a really good game. So hopefully we do get more updates like this one, and of course the champion rebalancing for the old and outdated champions. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Do you agree with my ranking? Are you also excited for the same champions that I have listed down here? Which one are you looking forward to get the most? Which one will probably help your account the most? Yeah. All right. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys in my next video.